Hey everybody, D here, back with more Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and this is going to be a quick little episode on investigations and the provisions manager. Um, so, once you beat the Kesselon kerfuffle and the Great Jagras hunt, you get access to these guys. This is a fairly important part of the game. This is where you handle your investigations and also where you handle bounties. Bounties is how you get armor spheres for upgrading your equipment. Bounties, there's different tiers of bounties. There's some that you can do daily. There's some that are weekly, and then there's some that you just get and you can. And they just keep rotating out endlessly. So you want to always be doing a bounty. You want to always, every time you go out on a hunt, you want to try and complete at least one bounty, so you can get those armor spheres. Because the armor spheres, if you ignore them, they stack up pretty quickly. But once you get to the high rank armor, you burn through them even quicker than you get them. So you really want to get your hands on them. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and talk to the provisions manager.
Oh, you are too good to me.
And it's just random story. BS.
Don't let me down.
So this is important for the next mission, establishing the new campsite. This is going to go into the expedition I'm going to do in the next episode. Come on, exit. There we go. So we don't have any investigations and we don't have any deliveries. We'll get to that in a minute. Register bounties. This is where the daily and weekly stuff is. So there's registered, there's critical, and then there's limited. Limited we don't have access to yet. Limited is the daily / weekly ones. During seasonal events, they switch from weekly to daily. Because they do that because completing them gives you very important resources to craft important items, and it helps with grinding. It helps minimize your grinding of resources for equipment later on. But during non-seasonal events, they're weekly bounties. But as you can see here, for critical is the bounty she just gave me for rebuilding the ancient forest camp. That leads to the expedition. Critical, they just pop up. They're there. You can complete them as you do other missions and stuff. I think you can. Some of them you have to go out for specifically, but I think some of them you can do as you do other stuff. But they're always there. You don't need to worry about them. You can just do them as you please. Well, all of these you can do as you please. But starting off, you don't have a whole lot. It's just gather items, which is really because early on you need to be gathering items as much as possible. So this is to help encourage you for gathering items. But if you look like this one, you need to gather honey 3 times. It gives you 30 research points, 1 armor sphere. This is for gathering flora. You need to gather plants 7 times, 60 points and 1 armor sphere. Yes, this is what. Gather insects 5 times, 60 and 1. Bone piles, 40 and 1. Bone piles, 101. You can see there's 2 different ones, but they have different quantities. This one you need to gather 12 times. This one's for 6. And then the mining outcrops, 101. Typically, you want to go for the ones that give you the most armor spheres, but also you want to do the ones that you can complete quickly. So, once we start, you'll start getting ones where it's like hunt, or do X number of investigations, or do X number of hunts, or capture X number of monsters. You want to do those because you're going to be doing that anyways, so you'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll complete the hunt, you'll complete the mission that you're already going to do, and you'll complete bounties at the same time, so it's a bonus reward. But some of them, they'll be like hunt 3 elder dragons, or hunt 3 tempered monsters. That one, depending on what your goal is, that could take you a lot longer to do because they're much harder to do. So it might not be worth taking those on, because while they give you more research points and more armor spheres, you might end up, you'll more than likely end up getting more research points and armor spheres just by gathering honey, as opposed to doing that one. So at this point you don't have an option, but later on you do have options. You just need to think about what your goal is for that session, and and things like that. So for now, we're just going to take a bunch of them. And you can hold, was it 6 at a time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 at a time. I want to do both the bone piles, because if you have 2 at the same time, like bone piles, I can get it doesn't just gather from 1 or for 1. It does for both of them at the same time. It does them concurrently, I believe is the word. So yeah, so if I complete this one, I'll be halfway done with this one. So it's useful to do. I'll just take them all. Yeah. So there we go. So now we got these, and we're gonna have some armor spheres coming in. The research points at this point, or at this time, aren't that great, but later on, once you get to like high rank and master rank, they do start getting up there. I think at master rank, when you start doing like some of the master rank missions, I think some of them reward you with like 400 or 500 research points at a time, or they can. So it's a good way of getting research points as well. Early on, the best way of getting research points is gathering resources or gathering tracks and just hunting the monsters. Now, we don't have access to investigations or deliveries yet. Deliveries, that's something where it's like somebody's like, hey, can you gather X number of this? And if it's not an optional mission, you can, as you gather it, once you gather it, you can come here and talk to them and turn it in, and we'll see that in the expedition we'll do next. And investigations, this is where this is a 2-part thing.
Let's get this expedition underway.
As you level up your research level by hunting monsters and gathering their tracks, you need to come talk to this guy over here, because once it levels up, it doesn't actually level up more. Like while you're out in the field, it'll level up, but it doesn't actually level up in a way. You have to come talk to this guy. When you talk to him,
Yes.
then it'll actually level up.
I'll be here.
Sorry there, Monster Field Guide updated for the Great Jaguars.
Or you can use the world map. Whatever's easiest.
So once you talk to him and once it levels up, the next time you go out, it'll actually be leveled up, and it'll increase your research level even more, and it will start opening up investigations, which you can then come over here and talk to them. Did I just get access to limited bounties? You can come over here and talk to them, and then the investigations will start popping up. So investigations, you earn them while you're out in the field. You don't talk to him and then come over here and talk to them to have them magically appear. You earn them in the field, but they won't start popping up unless you're at the right level, which you have to talk to him first. So it's really convoluted. It doesn't make sense. But limited bounties we just had access to. These are the weekly ones. Yeah, like this one expires in 5 days. I need to hunt 2 brute wyverns. This one, yeah, same thing, 5 days. Hunt 2 fanged wyverns. As you can see, they also offer higher research points and better rewards. This one's 4 armor spheres at 450 points. This one's 550 points, an armor sphere plus times 2, and a first Wyverian print. Those prints are really useful. They'll come in they'll have a bigger impact later on, but these are our very useful rewards. We won't have access to the last 3 until we get the master rank. Well, no, I think we'll access 1 or 2 of them once we're in high rank, because I think one of them you have to be in high rank. I think another one is for Elder Dragons, and then the last one's for master rank. So we won't have access to all of them until the end, but we'll slowly get access to them. So unfortunately, until you get to master rank, you're not going to be able to do the general limited bounty, because you have to be able to do all 5 of them to get it. And the Celestial Wyverian print is something you want. That lets you freely craft one of the hardest resources to get in the game. So being able to get those whenever you want is very, very useful. But the last thing to show off is back at this guy. I was talking about how there's different levels. You increase in the field and blah blah blah. So right here you see the research levels, and it brings up all the monsters you've been tracking. And you can see Zora Magdaros, the Great Jaguars, Pukey, and the Anjanath. All the monsters we've come across through cutscenes or whatever. The Great Jaguars is the only one I've actually been hunting, so you can see its research level's gone up. As you can see, there's 3 stars on it, and 1 star is filled in for leveling it up. Another star, or and that meter below it, is about to fill up, which will increase the next star. But off to the left of it, it still says level 0, no guidance. Like, each time you level up, it resets and you have to level it up again. Like, yeah, it's really weird. I can understand because of how many times you're hunting these monsters, so they need to have it stretch out, kind of fluff it, so you get more use out of it, or so it has more importance overall. But yeah, it's like I said, it just keeps resetting over and over and over, and it's important to max these out because that is there's an achievement for that, or trophies for that, for maxing out. I think for like maxing out one of them, and then maxing out like 10 of them, and then maxing out all of them. And it's not easy to max out all of them. Like the Zora Magdaros, he's one of the hardest, or the Elder Dragons in general are the hardest ones. Zora Magdaros is the hardest one because you can only increase his by on certain missions, and the missions suck. They're so boring to do. I hate the Zora Magdaros missions, but this is the only way to increase his, or that one's. But as it increases, it gives you more information. Like I said, it'll go from highlighting their tracks to following their trail to showing where they're at on the map and where they're going and things like that. So it's important to keep doing it and to get it maxed out, and so you can unlock investigations. And then there's the Monster Field Guide, and this you can actually access from your menu. You don't have to come talk to him, but we'll show it off real quick. There's a small Monster Field Guide, and this is where things that you hunt come up. So that like the Aptomnoth, the Kestodon, the Jagras, fish appear here, birds, spiders, ants, any creature in the game you can capture or kill, they appear here. Any of the large monsters, oops, wow, why did it exit out? What the hell?
Try hard, will you?
That was weird, why did it exit out? The large monsters, things like Zora Magdaros, the Puki, Anjanath, Jagras, they appear under this. And as you can see, the Great Jagras, it has two tabs, Ecology and Physiology, and then the last page, I can't remember what they call it, but it will show rewards. The Ecology, it'll give you little tips about them. It'll tell you what things to watch out for, or possible items to use against them. It also shows how many you've captured, how many you've hunted, and it shows their smallest and largest. Like I think I've talked about it before, the smallest and largest is tied in with the trophy. Doing the event missions is one of the best ways to grind those out. Physiology, it tells you its weakness, tells you what it's weak against, what it's strong against, the places you want to aim for, where you'll deal the most damage and break the most parts. I think everything on all the monsters are breakable. Like you can break their chest, their head, their tail, and their legs. But some of them have other parts, or parts are more resistant to some things than others. Like I said, the Jagras is the punching bag. He's weak to everything. The only thing he's not weak against is water. Like, that's it. No matter what you use, he's weak against it. So he's a very easy creature. And of course, with the Puki, we have nothing because we haven't increased his research level. And same thing with Anjanath. The same thing with Zora Magdaros. So that is the ecological research and the provisions manager. The one thing we didn't cover, or I didn't touch on too much, was deliveries. But we'll get to that later because in the expedition mission we're getting ready to do, we'll talk to a few people, and it will be actual deliveries, so you'll get to see them and how they work, hands-on. But that is going to wrap up this episode. There's a couple people we need to talk to, but we'll talk to them before we actually jump into the mission. So I hope you find this useful, and I'll see you. Real quick, I forgot something with investigations. Well, actually, you don't even need to go up here. If you look down on the right side, towards the bottom of the screen, well, if you look on the right side, it has all your listed bounties, it has your investigations and your deliveries. Actually, we need to drop one off after the last mission. It says investigations quest on hand 7 out of 400, registered quests 1 out of 75. So you can only have 75 registered investigations at a time, and you can only have 400 in total. You might think 400 is a lot. Well, it will fill up. Eventually it will, because you're constantly gathering tracks and stuff. You're constantly hunting. Just seeing a monster when you're out on an expedition or another mission will get you can get you a investigation sometimes. So it does fill up quick. If you go under manage investigations, there is options to remove. You can like, let's go ahead and register a couple of these real quick, and then you can hit like the options button to delete all unregistered requests. So you can clear it out. Once it fills up and gets to 400, any quest that's unregistered, it will start deleting as new ones come in. So it doesn't lock you out of getting new investigations. It just deletes old ones. So just if you're actually doing investigations and stuff, just keep an eye. Make sure you're make sure you're only tracking ones you actually want and actually need, and excuse me, that way the ones you don't care about do get deleted, and at the same time don't just register all the ones you can just because you can, because you don't need to. Like, I don't need these 3 Jagras missions. I'm not going to need to hunt a Jagras again until high rank. Or no, I might need to hunt one more once we get to the new to a new area. But other than that, I'm pretty much done with the Jagras. So just make sure you keep an eye on those investigations. That way, ones that you want, because tempered hunts will appear under investigations. Elder Dragon hunts, they'll also appear under investigations. Just make sure you don't make sure those don't get deleted by accident.